Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In a race where half the field weren't classified as a checkered flag, they were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
The Aston Martin team will be very happy with today's performance.
Stroll, Latifi and Tsunoda are the podium. What an interesting set of three. Mr. Strulovic and Nicholas Latifi in first and second. Two Canadians known for not being the best drivers. So of course we're here in Carnage for the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Wing, and the first DNF today is Pierre Gasly. So it's 5 red lights and lights out and away they go. There's me in my newly coloured up car, and away goes Gasly. He's out of the race before it even began. Next up for DNFs we have Lewis Hamilton. So first off, I'm just pushing like Alonso out there. And then we've got Hamilton, who has immediately broken down, and so is being pushed along by Nobuharu Matsushita until he's able to just drive off. I don't think that's a fault of mine. I think he just doesn't have a good engine for that day, but I don't really know. Next up is Valtteri Bottas, coming off of right after his teammate's DNF. So, in and away he goes, getting slightly airborne there for a second. The next DNF today is Nobuharu Matsushita. Or Matsushita. I don't actually know how his name is pronounced. I think it's Matsushita. Might be Matsushita. Now I'm destroying a board, and suddenly out of the race he goes. I'll actually show it from a different angle this time so we can actually see it in better detail. So here he is driving along. I just cut in front of him. So he tries to go around the outside and into the wall, loses both of his tyres, and is out the race. The next DNF belongs to Max Verstappen. So driving along, when suddenly a larger amount of damage done to cars. So I've got it from a different angle. So he's driving alongside Giuliano Alesi and is brought into a wall and then spins. And that's pretty much it. Here it is from behind his car. Also sorry that the dehumidifier has come back on. So he just gets hit in and his back wheel falls off. I'll show it from Giuliano Alesi's perspective. Alesi's cinematic actually shows it quite well. So he comes in and there's Verstappen getting brought into the wall, and then Alesi's brought into the next wall. So yeah. Anyway, time for the next DNF. The next DNF is Lando Norris, but all of these DNFs, all 7 DNFs have only occurred in 3 laps. We're going on to lap 4. That's how many DNFs have happened just at the start of this race. So here we have Lando Norris, who is the next DNF, right here. Into the wall, and off both his tyres go. So here's what he sees. He sees me off to the side. He starts going for the open gap, and I slam it shut. Also, by the way, if you've been enjoying, please like and subscribe. And you could maybe comment as well if that would be okay. Anyway, so we have me and Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez is the next DNF, so I'll just take us to where he goes out. So over the top of the hill, all of the cars are coming. I'm swerving everywhere like I always do. And then Perez comes up and he's out of the race with a very jumping car as he's destroying all the billboards. I know that's not what they're actually called, it's just what I'm calling them for now because I can't remember what they're called. Here it is from inside his car, so there's a car on the grass, he tries to go past it, and off one and both his wheels. Anyway, time to go on to the next DNF. The next DNF is Wanyu Zhou's. So he's coming around the final corners with me trying to shoot past him. And bonk. He's out of the race. Inside of the cockpit there, I'm going around, and then I go wide. He starts driving through, but then I slam the door on him. He loses his wing and his tyre. Anyway, on to the next DNF. The next DNF is Charles Leclerc's, who at the time of the last DNF was in second place. So let's see how he goes out. So as we see how he goes out, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 extra laps, and now let's show how he goes out. First off, on this lap where he goes out, he actually manages to pass his teammate there. So maybe that's why he goes out. Obviously I actually remember why he goes out, and it's at the end of the lap. And there it is. So he comes around the long bend, and then slams into my moving car. So here is my car, driving around, and into the back of it goes Leclerc. And so now, and then I get hit again, yeah. Now I'll show it from Leclerc's angle. So driving along. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, but it's going away. And then there comes the car, and into the back of it he goes. The next DNF is this guy, Esteban Ocon. So after coming into contact with me and spinning me around, well, the dehumidifier's back on, he drives along and then starts going much, much slower. He comes around the final few corners before finally going out round and parking up here. The next DNF is the other Ferrari Carlos Sainz. I know we just had Ocon, but we had also just had Leclerc, so he kind of goes in between with the other Ferrari. So he comes around onto the final straight, the main straight. There's me, and he hits me, and I'm spun around, and he's out the race. And then I start trying to get going again. I cannot get going straight. And then I crash into another car who also goes out there. So the other car I slam into is this guy, George Russell. But so he drives down the main straight. He sees a swerving car and he sees Carlos Sainz destroyed. And then I accidentally I don't know whether I did it accidentally or not. I was trying to get going, but my car wasn't moving straight forwards, and that's why he crashed out. So here's Carlos Sainz's full straight fling from his perspective, and then this is George Russell's perspective of his full straight fling. Anyway, time for the next DNF. The next DNF is Nikita Mazepin's, who I had tried 5 separate times already during this race to DNF, and then he finally did it here. I slammed into him once, I slammed into him twice to get him out. He was a very tough one to just get rid of. Oh yeah, he got slammed to the back of as well. So when Nikita Mazepin went out, he was almost a full lap down, which meant that when the other guys came and slammed into... So first off, that's where he goes out. And then here comes first place Fernando Alonso, who slams into him. And so despite the fact that it looks like Nikita should be ahead, Fernando Alonso is actually the one that was DNF first. And then also up here we also have another DNF, which is this guy, Mick Schumacher. So as he and my teammate Daniel Ricciardo come up, the other guys have already crashed, and then he comes in and is slammed into the back of, which removes his tyre, and DNFs him. The next DNF is Daniel Ricciardo, who's my teammate. Also, I like my new livery design that I designed with the yellow underside and green top, with then the pink being the final colour on the engine cover. But anyway, that's how we went out. He slams into the back of me. The reason I brought up my livery there with him instead of with me is because with me, the livery looks absolutely god-awful, because it gets covered in debris and other random things, which I guess is supposed to represent the fact that the car is decayed. Also, here is me having fun not being able to drive and driving through the sand. Stone. Ugh. The next DNF is Antonio Giovinazzi's. So he comes around the first corner, drives forwards, and into the back of me. Here it is from inside of his cockpit. Bonk. And he spins me around. The next DNF spatially is Yuki Tsunoda, but it isn't chronologically because Antonio Giovinazzi goes out after him, but Tsunoda crashed first. Basically, Tsunoda had got more laps in when he crashed, so he was ahead of Giovinazzi, and that's where he crashed out. So here's his DNF from inside of his cockpit. He drives around the final corner, and bang, into me, and I go flying up. Here it is from my perspective. I go spinning around. Also, if I reverse this, it looks like I'm driving forwards because I'm reversing. Anyway, here it is from the cinematic camera. It's not very good, but you do see the car go spinning. Just not very well. Honestly, Tsunoda's is better in the seeing a car spinning regard. I still don't know how my car survived that, but it did. In case you're wondering how Tsunoda DNF'd, but I didn't get onto the podium, he did, it's simply due to the fact that I was way too many laps behind. I was 7 laps behind when Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi won. There's the winning Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi there, which is why the game counts me as also having DNF'd in this race, and Yuki Tsunoda got onto the podium. So basically the game considered there only being 2 people who finished the race, being Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi. So I go into the pit, and for some reason I changed to intermediates, for some reason. I then start doing donuts because the cars have won, and so there's no real reason for me to race, and also I can't get any warmth into the tyres because they're intermediates. My team put on intermediates during the sun and a very dry track. But then I got going again. I started messing about, couldn't get to the end very well. But then I kept going. And I got to the checkered flag. Slowly. Anyway, now we'll go and show the current driver's standings. Due to his second place in the race, Nicholas Latifi managed to get up from 4th to 2nd. We'll see as he was in 4th. Which means that Lando Norris's chokehold on the championship at the moment is starting to wane. There's only 2 points in it. And then Lance Stroll's win pushed him up several places, putting him even ahead of me and my teammate, who are on 29 and 28 points. Down at the bottom, we have Antonio Giovinazzi, Lewis Hamilton, Nikita Mazepin, Max Verstappen, and George Russell, who I'm pretty sure were the same people that were at the bottom last time. And we've also got the same pairs of teams down at the bottom here, with AlphaTauri, Williams, and my team. Everything else is in random orders. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, like I said earlier, please like and subscribe, and if you can, comment, and goodbye.